This is Make and Watch. I'm Tommy Skaggs. Today we're going to be reviewing the movie Tales of Halloween. So this movie came out in 2015 and it's a compilation of 10 different horror movies created by 11 different directors. So one of the cool things, even though it was 11 different directors, they show them back to back to back and it almost seems like they're stitched together. Like it seems like it's one film if you didn't know that it was multiple people. It just has each movie has a similar feel to it, but if you were to follow along, you can definitely see that there are 10 different movies here with some crossover as well. So that was kind of a cool thing to do. Now the concept of doing a horror anthology is not a new concept. This has been done several times. The one most similar to this would be Trick or Treat, but then you have other ones that would sit on the shelf like the VHS series, ABCs of Death series, Creepshow, Theater Bazaar, and there's several others. You can pull it up, but a lot of really cool horror anthology movies. This is a pretty cool way to get a lot of bite-sized horror at once. So what I want to do now is I want to take you through some of the movie, and we're going to analyze each clip. And so the goal of what we're going to do here is we're going to find what we like and what we don't like about certain parts of the movie, and make this as a learning moment. It's like what are things that we like in this type of movie? What are things that we can skip past? I don't want to give away any spoilers about the movie, but because we are doing a film analysis, there may be some little giveaways, but I'm going to try nothing too crazy here. But this first one right here, I really want to focus on the pan effect here. So this came in pretty early in the movie, so let's give this one a watch. So he grabs the purse, and then check out this. This is one shot here. Just keeps going away. Look at this. How is this even happening here? One shot. And here's a wall, and it even goes over the wall, and it goes into the car here. So there's a little bit more to this single shot, but I don't want to give away too much of it. But there is that single shot actually goes on a little longer than that. And this is something that I've always been drawn to, is the single shot movies. And the first time I saw something like this was in Alfred Hitchcock's Rope, where the whole movie was one take. But you can actually see in that movie there were two different times where they had to split the clip just due to the limitations of the tape. But now we're in a digital age. You can film Rope or something like this with one reel. So this kind of continuous shot is pretty darn cool. The next shot I want to show you here is this is more of a character development. This is an indie film way of kind of doing a character reveal, and I've seen this a couple other times, but this is something that they're introducing a character, they're sizing them up, and they're showing them off. I also really like the choice of the jacket that was made. So whoever did the jacket in this shot was really creative. So let's take a look at this one. So okay, we have the tough girl checking out the guy who's challenging her. Just sizing him up, and like literally sizing him up from. But look at this. Look at all these cool little flare that he has on his jacket. And it goes up. And then, okay, and there's something on his head there. Pretty cool shot. That really kind of set the tone for it, for the rest of that little portion of the movie. I just like the way that the slow motion, like panning up, and I'm just checking it out, and it was really neat. It was kind of a neat little reveal there. Now this third one, we've given two clips that were some pretty high praises, but this third clip really shows like some amateur filmmaking here. This is something that I wasn't a fan of, and there's a couple reasons here. We have a stunt that's shot in several different shots, and this is something that kind of gives it away as, okay, this wasn't professionally done. That's fine. But then like the makeup used and kind of like the acting here, it kind of makes it seem kind of amateurish. But this was kind of one of the points of the movie where I was like, and this is one of the shorts that I didn't necessarily like. But with these horror anthologies, that's totally fine, because the next movie is going to be just a couple minutes away. But let's take a look at this little stunt and see what you think about this.
Gretel,
So we have husband and wife doing a little joke.
Like Hansel and Gretel?
And, okay, we got a dog getting mad. Look at this punch. Okay, cut, slow motion cut, fall down, slow, like, fall backwards, hair. And then somehow, it's just, look at this makeup. It's kind of creepy, I guess, but it's just like, I don't know. That just screams amateur to me, which is fine. I mean, if it's fine what you're going, if that's what you're going for, but I just personally wasn't a fan of that clip or that effect. I see what they were going for. Next, here's something that's a little bit different. This is there's a portion of one of the last movies, actually I think it was the 10th movie that was in here, they are doing a police sketch, and now the detective is going to the police sketch artist to see what the sketch looks like. So let's take a look at this.
All right, what have we got?
You're not going to believe this.
Try me.
All right, let's stop it right there. So that's pretty funny. So I mean, you have to have there's a little bit of comedy in this. They're doing a police sketch, and it's like a really poorly drawn crayon pumpkin. And so what the really kind of the funny piece of this is that character even though she says, "Hey, great job, Rembrandt," that's the character's name in the movie. But that actor is actually a guy named Drew Struzan, and he is a well-known horror movie poster creator. He's done comic books. He's a fantastic artist. So I mean, just the little fact that they had this really well-known artist who does fantastic work, who does pretty much, a crayon drawing of a bad pumpkin, is hilarious. So that was a little bit of funny that was put in there. All right, so this next clip is the end of that same the 10th film in the movie. And so one of the things that I want to focus on here is the two actors are going into a room, but then they have some sort of digital effect that makes it look like they're in a huge underground warehouse. And this is something that I'm really curious about. So if you know how this type of effect is done, let me know. But let's take a quick look at this little ending clip here. So we have the actors coming on in, and they're looking around, turn on the light. This looks like a little office here, right? And so he sees something. She sees something. He's like, "What's the big deal?"
Just a bunch of...
And then here's the reveal. Like, how is that done? How is that done? That's I thought that was a pretty cool, ominous, shot of what's going on with this film. So that was a really cool way of ending that clip, and it was also a cool way of ending the film as well. So we're going to analyze one more clip here, and this one. By far, this was my favorite clip of the movie. Or I always like it when a kind of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of movie where you have the big bad guy. I always like it when the tables get turned, and then so the victim becomes hunter becomes the hunted type of situation here. And so what I did was I cut up this final scene into several different parts, just like I said, not to give away too much here, but every single element of this film is awesome. So let's kind of give this a little look here. All right, so check this out. He's coming out of his cabin. She's running away. Look at the spear effect here, flying through the air, and then and then a really cool prop effect that happened there. So a lot of things happened there in that 1 second. So this is a few minutes later. Then there's aliens that show up for some reason. And this little guy's here. He doesn't know what to do with the little guy. And so he doesn't have any candy for him. This is funny. This is some funny stuff here. Ends up, going into her mouth, and she turns evil. Chases him. You can even see what's holding her back, here. There's a little pull on her back. But then they turn into like a Monty Python, Black Knight type of fight, chopping each other's limbs off. That's a Monty Python effect totally right here. There's some continuity errors happening here. But that's totally fine. But I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to spoil that whole one. But that was just a couple little segments that were in that portion of the film. So with those, those clips aside, this was pretty interesting film. Cast wise, there was some pretty interesting cameos that came out of it. Like Barry Bostwick, who was Brad from Rocky Horror Picture Show, was in there. John Landis, who is a horror movie veteran, like he even directed the Michael Jackson Thriller video. He was in there as well and had a really cool part. Dana Gould's in there, Andy Merrill, and there is a whole bunch of other horror cameos that happen from people, like specifically horror movies from like the 80s and earlier. Very cool. So if you're a fan of horror, this would be pretty good. Overall, the storylines were pretty simple, and that's kind of to be expected in this type of movie. You really want to get to know the characters as fast as you can, get to the storyline as fast as you can, and then introduce a twist. And that was kind of the formula for each one of the movies. So it was something that you kind of it was a kind of just turning through it. But that's okay. This movie is actually rated R because of language, and there's a lot of blood, a lot of brutality in this movie. But if you're not too squeamish by that, I mean, as you saw in the last clip, a lot of it's cartoonish anyways. So I believe this one's absolutely worth adding to your Halloween rotation. But there's a lot of things too that you can see in these types of movies. I really like the anthologies that have the crossover. There's some of the anthologies that don't have crossover at all, but this is one I think they did an okay job. There was, like I said, there's a little bit of continuity issues throughout, but overall, very enjoyable. So this has been Make and Watch. I hope you enjoyed this film review. What movie do you want to see me review next or analyze next? Shoot me a message on makeandwatch.com or comment below. Hope you enjoy this. Have a great day.
Trick or treat.